You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
And as always, thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that lovely introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk. My apologies. Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk, Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. I cannot talk for right this second. My apologies. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode 428. We're talking, recapping the Christmas holiday victory over the Houston Texans for Week 17. We got one more week of football. We got the Cleveland Browns this upcoming week, and that'll conclude the regular season. But before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. As soon as this video is done, I'm going to record episode 429. That's the Washington Commanders. Episode 430, Maryland women's basketball. We're getting ready for Rutgers on Thursday. We have a media availability tomorrow with Coach Freeze and one of the players from the team. So I'll try to have some of that content uploaded on YouTube as well. So continue to like, comment, and subscribe. That's going to also be a goal, as mentioned in the episode 427. We're taking advantage of uploading more media availabilities with the players and Coach Freeze. So let's get into it. The Ravens, after sort of a little bit of a bye week, week before beating Pittsburgh at home, which is a must needed win, especially I think getting the monkey off your back where the Steelers quote unquote own us, but we've in those games were self-inflicted losses. But I think getting the monkey off your back at home against a divisional rival and beating them 34-17, coming off bye week, and then you're getting ready for Houston, quick turnaround, playing on Christmas Day, and it was a very, very glorious and wonderful Christmas holiday for me as the Baltimore Ravens defeated the Houston Texans 34-2. You heard me right. That was the final score Christmas Day. That's Houston only scored 2 points. That's
Game over, yeah!
But let's my takeaways. I'm going to start on Houston's side of the ball. Listen, Houston, and I think also too this needs to be said. The Houston Texans, amongst every other team in the league, by looking at Miami, San Francisco, staying healthy matters. And last week, not last week, but obviously last week losing against the Chiefs, Tank Dell, now 2 season-ending injuries, lost to Stephon Diggs. You're getting Nico Collins back from injury, so you know he's not really 100%. The offensive line at times has been inconsistent. So it's not kind of going the way I think everyone expected. Has C.J. Stroud looked like C.J. Stroud last year? Yay and nay. In this game, Did he have a good game? No. 17 of 31 through the interception. He just could not find a rhythm. But credit Baltimore's defense, Zach Orr. My apologies. At the beginning of this season, it was looking really, really suspect. We questioned how you got the job, especially if we've never had that experience as defensive coordinator. But he has turned the tables, and he's proved that he's silenced a lot of critics. But I thought really, to me, I'm not going to put all the blame on the reigning rookie of the year, but when you look at the drop passes or the play calling, I'm not going to put that all on CJ. There were a couple plays. Example, he missed Nico Collins on second down, would have been at least, I think it was a 20-yard gain of second down. Then there was a pass to Dalton Schultz. That would have been, I think, for like 40 or something. And the thing is, nobody was in the vicinity defensively. So, I mean, he just didn't look like himself. And I don't know if it just play calling. I don't know if it just was defensively. And again, and in fairness too, I don't know if fatigue plays a role in that. Listen, these guys are just coming off practically on 3 days turnaround. That's a lot on a player. And also too, again, injuries offensively can throw your rhythm off, because now you're working with, they claimed Deontay Johnson, so he didn't play. But I mean, you're now expecting guys that you've built a rapport with and you're comfortable with, and they're not there. That can disrupt the rhythm of a quarterback. That's just my opinion. For me, defensively, Houston looked extremely they just got their ass kicked. I mean, that was not one of and DeMarco Ryans as a former defensive linebacker, that was arguably one that was just disappointing defense to allow Baltimore to have 432 yards of offense, 31 points. That was the third most they've given up this season. They trailed 34 points after the week loss to Minnesota. I've never saw. There's no reason why a defense gives up 400 yards total offense. I mean, I saw a lot of bad angles. The one play where Lamar threw the touchdown, Darnell Hunter's right there. Why do you not go for him? That's beyond me. They had they did not do a good. They couldn't contain Derrick Henry. And say what you want. He although coming in again, what's he going to be like, and all this other stuff. 147 yards and 27 carries, had a touchdown. He averaged over 5 yards a carry. They had no answers for him. I mean, he has picked apart Houston ever since he was in Tennessee. And he had 2 runs over 20 yards. He's averaged over 200 yards the last 3 appearances at Houston. So I don't know, but I still think, for me, like, did they have a bad game? Yes, but I think this is what they are. I don't think they're going to get any better. I believe they were coming in. I believe I remember correctly, they're now officially the 4th seed, which means they're not going to play us or Buffalo. So they're going to have to figure something out. But I think they're a first-round exit at best. I just don't think they have the personnel. And again, also too, staying healthy matters. When you have an injury-plagued team, and especially when you've lost now 2 game changers, playmakers offensively, that hurts. Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins. I mean, they're great. Joe Mixon is an All-Pro. Dalton Schultz is a good tight end, but like an offense has Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell that I think make defensively or schematically change your defense not out there. That really will hurt them, to me. But I think also too, like, I knew right from Wednesday, I'm like, they're not going to beat Houston. I mean, they're not going to. No, Houston's not going to beat Baltimore. A short week, again, the injuries. Would that have mattered? Probably not. But again, Jimmy Ward wasn't out there. Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. Again, we don't live in we don't live in the past, we live in the present. The reality is those guys weren't out there. Shaq Mason wasn't out there. Jalen Pritchard wasn't out there. But I think the score would have been more than just 2 points. I think you got players that are good enough on the Houston Texans to give you more than 2 points. That's just my opinion. So that was pretty much it on Houston's side. For Baltimore, listen, I cannot stress enough that I think this is the Ravens team that I've been looking for most of the season. I'm not going to go as far as saying scary, but this is the team that people need to watch out for. They're peaking at the right time, and they're stringing wins together, and they're winning in all phases of the football. You look at the offense, we're scoring almost 30 points a game last 5 games. The defense is giving up just 16 points. And the special teams, again, just want to say for the record, all y'all were saying Justin Tucker, the new Matt Stover, we need to do this, we need to do that. He's been looking pretty consistent to me. Not just him, Nick Moore, Jordan Stout, something's changed. They've cut down on the penalties. They had 3 against Houston. That's the season, and especially the week before, we had 2 against Pittsburgh, 5 penalties in 2 games. Where's my clip? Listen, I'll take that. But to me, and this is your 9th game where you've had over 400 yards of total offense. They broke the season single franchise record with a week to do that. That happened when Lamar was the starter in 19. This is a team that I think most teams don't want to play, especially slowing down this offense and moving the ball against this defense. And again, I think it was coming together. Maybe we did kind of overreact. Maybe we, as fans and as pundits, local media, sometimes I think we have high expectations. And sometimes, again, a lot of it was an adjustment phase. You got to understand, like I use offensive line, for example. Offensive line coach passed away before the season started. A new defensive coordinator. You have an all-pro safety that got benched. Well, really 2. One guy is no longer on the team. One's benched. You're bringing an all-pro receiver via trade that really I don't think should have been here. And then, like, new pieces, an adjustment, a lot of that. To me, I think the defense was the key in this game. The first 10 weeks of the season was just something, especially where we were a good run defense. Against the pass was a different story. But here we are now. It's looking a lot different. I mean, you could almost say that was almost like a no-hitter, a shutout almost. I mean, the only points came off that safety with Derrick Henry getting tackled in the end zone. They allowed 211 yards total offense of Houston. That's the 5th quarterback they've held to under 220 yards passing. Russell Wilson twice. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And again, I have to get credits, and that's where I say coaching matters. Kyle Van Noy, he's now double-digit sacks, 11 and a half. We'd be 34 in a couple months. Like last year, he had 9. A lot of players, especially at his age, they kind of declined. Look at Jadeveon Clowney, double-digit sacks last year for us. But also too, Kyle Van Noy knows what it is. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. You know what I'm saying? And Zach Orr, he's next. Listen, Zach Orr, I have to apologize. I mean, the criticism that he got, and some of it was fair, some of it was harsh, but players took accountability. He wasn't afraid to make adjustments, and you've seen the results. Darius Washington, safety, Colin Hamilton, playing at his natural position. I mean, they held Joe Mixon to 26 yards on 9 carries. Their running game was essentially a non-factor. I mean, Adafe Owe, 9 sacks on the year. I I can't really sit here and go like, oh, okay. I mean, if this is what this defense, if this is what the defense looks like now, imagine come playoff time. And also, too, listen, John Harbaugh, I have a love and hate relationship with Coach Harbaugh, but he deserves this coaching staff as a whole deserves some love. Listen, I don't like the fact that but soapbox moment. 3 games in 11 days. I blame the Players Association for that because you can't preach player safety and all this other stuff when you allow a scheduling like this. So we can blame the NFL all we want to, but the Players Association is also the one who agreed to it. But back off the soapbox. I get it. 3 games, 11 days, that's not an easy task. When you look at, we responded in 11 days. Harbaugh has taken a lot of heat for its clock management, the ridiculous challenges. And also too, sometimes you go like, it's time for a new chapter. But I mean, we have to, in these last 3-0 stretch, we've seen some good performances. We have to give this coaching staff some credit. And especially too, like that's what separates good coaches from great coaches, the ability to sit there and go, okay, you know what? This is what we need to do. This is how we need to game plan. The practice done. I think Coach Harbaugh talked about tweaking the practice schedule, keeping guys fresh and healthy. Switching players through practice. To ask of your team to do that. I'm really really proud of what this coaching staff has done. Next. I really kind of have to come to his defense, but I'm going to say it one more time. Lamar Jackson should be MV3. To me, when you found the identity, and I think you've seen him statistically get better. I'm going to say something that I think some people might find a bit controversial. But the MVP conversation this year between Josh Allen, Lamar, particularly, I'm going to use last year. I'm using the WNBA as an example. Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Alyssa Thomas. Alyssa Thomas had the single season triple doubles. She broke that record. Stewie departed Seattle for New York. She had a career high in points, rebounds, and assists. Asia Wilson had the most double-doubles, and I think had a few games where she had 30 or more points. She had tied the single game point record against Atlanta Dream. The Aces had the better record, but Brianna Stewart won MVP. The way the pundits that cover the W were about the conversation, particularly something along the lines of Ryan Rucco, basically justifying why Stewie should be MVP. Listen, Lamar and Josh Allen are like 1A and 1B, but I use the WNBA MVP conversation as an example because respectfully, Asia had won the year before, and there was no way they were going to let Asia win back-to-back MVPs. That's just the reality of sports and media. And what I hear and see on TV, like Ryan Clark, as an example, compared Josh Allen winning an MVP like Charles Barkley won MVP with the Phoenix Suns in 92. Wait a minute. Why would you compare? First and foremost, comparing Charles Barkley's MVP to a guy who hasn't won MVP. But if I remember correctly, Charles Barkley got to the finals, lost to the Bulls. Josh Allen hasn't even gotten to a Super Bowl. So I'm trying to understand the comparison in that. And I get it. Lamar has to win a championship, all those things. But when I see a former NFL quarterback who ran out of bounds to get a safety against the Lions many years ago, essentially downplay Josh Allen's interception against the Patriots and saying that's not an interception. But when Lamar has a bad game, Lamar gets crapped on national TV. That doesn't make any sense to me. Then we're downplaying, well, it's really because of Derrick Henry. I watched Emmanuel Acho. He posted a video on X talking about really contradicting himself, and which most of all these other guys have done, and what MVP means. MVP means most valuable player. But it sounds like to me MVP only qualifies if you have Randy's and Jags, randoms and just other guys. So when I look at the Bills, James Cook is an all-pro running back. He has over 1,600 yards. I believe he has over double-digit touchdowns, if I remember correctly. Amari Cooper, Pro Bowl receiver, all-pro. I know, okay, Shakir, Keon Coleman, rookie, Dalton Kincaid, the first-round pick. The man has help. I mean, Lamar won his first MVP with Willie Snead, Miles Boykin, Mark Andrews, Hollywood. He has Stephon Diggs last year. By default, he should have won MVP. To me, like when you look at the numbers, I think Lamar should win it, in my opinion. But I have a feeling they're going to give it to Josh Allen. That's just me. Whoever wins it, they win it. But to me, I think the discourse around the whole conversation between the two, I think it's gotten disingenuous. And I thought it's just extremely I'm just like, no. This is no. And congratulations to Lamar. He surpassed Michael Vick with his records. I would never think I'd have saw that ever in my lifetime, but I really, really like what I'm seeing. Lamar was responsible for 255 of our 432 yards total offense, 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. But I mean, that's just what he is. So this MVP race was never over 3 weeks ago, so I don't know where that came from. But outside of that, the Ravens are doing everything that they needed to do to win. They got the Cleveland Browns week 18, last game of the season. If we win, if Pittsburgh loses, which I'm hoping they do, Baltimore wins the AFC North. But I'm also hoping the Bengals do not make the playoffs. But because at one point it was looking a little sketchy, like they had Pittsburgh's going to win the AFC North, and it's turned around. So. And after the Eagles loss, I kind of was like, oh, okay. But since then, we've output our opponents from start to finish really well. I think it's like 100-33. So credit this coaching staff, Derrick Henry, his new hairdo has been playing well. So I'm really proud of that. It's been a big acquisition. I still think Anquan Bolden was probably the best one we've had over the years. But they're doing all the right things to win games. So I'm real proud of these guys. But to beat Cleveland, they don't have Deshaun Watson. Jameis Winston was benched. So was it Dorian Thompson-Robinson as a starter? I mean, if anything, Cleveland's playing more for pride because they're obviously at the playoffs. Nick Chubb's out for the year, so Jerome Ford is the number 1 running back. I do expect our bench to get in there at some point of the game, but yeah, I think we'll be okay. got a little bit of a break. I do expect Keaton Mitchell to get some more workloads towards him because Justice didn't play. I wasn't expecting Justice Hill to play after that injury against the Steelers. Anthony Miller, he got a couple runs out there. Devontae Walker, because we had Josh Johnson out there in the fourth quarter. I'm still trying to actually figure out what the whole scuffle was before the game between him and Joe Mixon. I still don't really know what caused that, but anywho, Mark Andrews went out 10 touchdowns. That's a career high for him. So silencing a lot of critics. So I'm loving it. Justin Tucker was perfect. He had a 50. I know it was like a 51 yarder, 10-0. So again, everything's starting to come together. But that is pretty much all my takeaways, of the game this past Christmas. It was a wonderful Christmas, and I got to sleep peacefully, knowing my team had won. So, and then the Commanders obviously made it even better, winning Sunday night and clinching the playoffs themselves. So that's going to actually do it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I do not have one final thought for this episode other than Lamar Jackson should be MVP. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Guaranteed.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please like, comment, and subscribe for official content on the YouTube channel. Leave the links to TeamNBSMedia and MarylandSportsblog.com. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. We'll talk soon. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I wanna thank you. All I wanna do is say thank you.
In this moment, yes, I cannot say what's wrong or right. No, it's not hard to fool me. No, 'cause I'm addicted to the good life. Yes. Yeah, lead the way, I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all, to the edge of it all. So tell your good night, 'cause I'll find no better one, yeah. So set the bar before the moment flies. Ooh, so tell your good night.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
Oh.